This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my orthographic drawing of a shape and I'm going to convert it into an isometric three-dimensional view. Okay, so I have here the actual shape that I'm going to be using here. And if you notice, there's the top, there's the front, and here's the side. If you notice, I have some dotted lines here, and these are lines that you cannot see from the view, but obviously there's an opening here. Okay, so I do need to do dotted lines underneath to show the hidden lines that should be drawn in. Okay, and likewise over here. So you notice those right away as you're looking at it. This is my front. I can label it, and this is my right side, and this is my top view. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is try to take it to my isometric three-dimensional drawing, and I have an example over here. If you look here, we're always going to start off at a point. Okay, so where the front and the right sides interact, that's where my point is going to be. So it comes down to a distinct point, this being that point. And if you see, if I angle my my object here just right, it comes to a V here. I can make a V with that. And that's what I'm looking for, that point right there as my starting point. So I'll first start off with that point here in my drawing. And I will start counting off segments. Now, something about this isometric view here is distorted because if I'm counting two squares or two grid lines for every one block, this right here is 1 unit, and this right here is 1 unit, and the distance from here to here is not the same as the distance from here to here. So this will distort the image, but it will keep the measurements clean so that I will have exact measurements, and I can tell what the measurements would be by following the grid lines. So that's the advantage to this. So that's the point right there that I'm going to be using, and I'll show you that's kind of like how I'm going to be drawing this. Okay, so first off, I'm going to measure out. So this is 2 units, and you see I have my scale down here. It's going to be 1 actual unit for every 2 grid lines on my paper here. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to be this line right here. And I go 1 unit over in this direction, 1, 2. Now again, as I draw this, I want to draw very faint lines, easy to erase. And when I cross over my my squares here, my grid lines, I want to make sure that I go across the hypotenuse. I go across right where the joints meet of my grid lines so that I'm having 45-degree angles as I go through. Okay, so I go up 1 here, 1 unit there. I'm looking at that unit, so I say, okay, that's that line right there. And over here, it's 2 units high, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4 to fit my scale. And I'm going to draw that line. Now, according across the back here, I'm doing 3 units. So that's 6 grid lines, which will be a long stretch here. Let's hope it fits on the page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just barely fit. It's not ideal, but I'm going to make it work for my sake of this video here. So obviously that is something that you would have to consider as well. Maybe you wanted to move it down a little bit further as well. But it fits within the border, so I'll use it. I have 2 units or 4 blocks going across the back here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll fill that line in. And I do have this line coming across here, which is 3 units or 6 blocks, which will bring me even with this line over here. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll put my dot there, and then I'll just connect the dots. because that is this long section right here. And then obviously I can connect these two dots right there. So that's my top, it's my right. Right here I have an opening, so I'm going to go 1, 2. That's a 1 block, 1 unit opening, and then it goes down 2, and this line lines up because this is going to be the flat surface. You know, it's on the same plane there. So 1, 2, 1 unit, and then there's 2 units up, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That all works out. It's good to check over your own work too. There's one line that I forgot here, which is the front line right there. Okay, so that's basically how my drawing is made. I don't want to put any unnecessary lines in here. There is, however, one line that isn't shown, and that is when I do this right here. You see this little angle right here. Okay, so right here, it kind of looks like this is paper thin, but it's really not. It's that 1 unit block right there, so I have to draw that little section in here, and this would be a 45-degree angle going up like this. Okay, so that is that shaded area that would be darkened right there as you see my image. Now I can use my ruler to connect these lines very darkly now that I'm sure that my drawing is all correct. So I'll go ahead and rest my pencil on the page, put my ruler right up to my pencil, and then connect the other dot with the other end of my drawing there. So I have my dots drawn out. Don't want to overextend at all, and just start to darken in the lines. I'll pause now and you can catch up with me once you've darkened in all of your lines. Now I have my drawing here and I checked it all out, and I do believe that I am done here. I have all the exact lines that I need to transfer my orthographic view to my isometric. So now I have a three-dimensional drawing, and again, word of warning that this is not, it will be a distorted image because the hypotenuse of these angles here does not match up with the vertical and horizontal grid marks. So basically that's what we're looking at right there. It's the same thing as this, but obviously distorted, not the same as the actual object in reality.